Hello, creepy crawlies, and welcome back to another episode of Ice Cream Queens. I do have my goat, just in case anybody was wondering and missing Baphomet, but he is here with us. So I wanted to let you guys know we are so excited about our show this evening. We are going to be tackling one of our favorite subjects, and that would be vampires. But before we get on to our vampire subject, let's bring in our lovely ladies of the evening. My co-hosts, Lauren,
Totally paying attention.
Magda,
Hello.
and Kat. Where are you? Kat.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
how is everybody doing?
I am good.
Good. So bear with me. I will be working the behind the scenes this evening because the cabana boy is otherwise occupied. So if I look a little distracted, that's because I'm trying to make sure all of this is flowing as smoothly as it can possibly. Yeah, it's not.
Sailing.
It'll be fine. It's in good hands.
Okay, I feel better now. I feel better. So
Better yours than mine.
So I want to start off by saying we have a disclaimer, as usually on our show. Who would like to read the disclaimer this evening?
Magda. She has a pretty voice.
Warning, this show may contain strong language or disturbing topics, which may be unsuitable for children, and unusual humor, which may be unsuitable for adults. That sounds about right.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Covers the basis.
Okay, that's not me.
Oh.
What? I haven't. So much for being smooth. Oh my God. Yeah, that was me doing the behind the scenes stuff. Where's the cabana boy when we need him? So I have two topics I want to discuss before we bring in our guest, and I have a third topic that we want to bring our guest in to chat with us about. That's actually kind of part of our pre-show. So the first thing, those of us who grew up, and I would imagine these were like in the 90s that these came out, but the McDonald's Happy Meal trick-or-treat buckets.
They were 80s. They were 80s.
Were they the 80s? Okay.
They were 80s. Yes.
Okay, so I do still have one somewhere. It doesn't have the top on it or anything, but one of the big things that I'm hearing is that starting October the 18th, McDonald's is going to relaunch those this year. So I'm going to McDonald's. I don't even like McDonald's. I mean,
I don't either.
I'm going to go to
I will for the
McDonald's every day.
buckets. We'll be there for the buckets.
That's the only reason I'm going. I'm going every day because it's only going to be for like 2 weeks. I'm going to go every day so I can get every damn bucket. I mean, every bucket. But it's going to be the same one over and over and over again.
Every gosh darn.
They're pretty slacking around here as far as rotating out the kids' toys. So yeah.
Oh yeah. And then of course, so this was interesting, and I'm curious to hear everybody's feedback on this. Oh wait, I jumped the gun. That's going to be with Jack when we bring him in. So
I got excited. Okay.
Anybody watching Dahmer?
Yes.
I think.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. They made Evan Peters not pretty. I don't know how I feel about this.
He is one hell of an actor.
Oh yeah.
And I've thought that since American Horror Story, especially during the hotel season when he played H.H. Holmes.
Yes.
And now this, and I saw a meme someone posted on Facebook, and they're like, I don't even care if the movie flops. Can someone just get this guy like a rom-com role just one happy role?
Well, I find it interesting that he's actually taken entire seasons off of American Horror Story because of the nature of the characters that he plays. Can you imagine the psychological trauma that because if you are not watching it, it's hard to watch. It is very, it's very brutal. It's very, it's icky. It's about as icky as they get. So, all right. So I'm going to bring in our guest. Yay! I'm so excited. Okay.
That's the guest bringing music, or
is it
something from Nick at Night? I don't know.
Oh wait, hang on. Is he ready?
Maybe.
We're gonna give him a second.
Something else. See, I cannot.
We're bringing him in now, Jack. We're bringing you in. I hope you can hear us.
There we go.
There we go.
Lovely.
Hello.
Lovely.
We have a backstage person who does all of this stuff, but they are off today. So you get this.
We can't hear you.
Oh.
Oh dear.
I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
Hey!
There you go.
Typical Jack fashion, yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, and
You guys are
welcome.
doing
We are-
an amazing job. Hi everyone. Wonderful to meet you all.
It's
It is
wonderful to meet you
wonderful.
too.
What she
I feel
said.
like we watch you a lot.
Likewise.
Yeah. We're not
Well, I
stalkers.
appreciate that. I appreciate it. No,
Yes, no,
No,
what?
Yes.
it's okay if you are. It's all right.
There may be a few stalkers. I know there's some after show stalkers that are going to want to poke their head in. I'm not lying.
Mm.
So I wanted to bring you in because there was a pretty significant find in Poland very recently where a exhumed body was, there was a body found, and it was that of a young woman who had a vampire's funeral, had a vampire's death. She had a sickle across her neck, and she had a triangular padlock on her big toe. The sickle was placed in such a manner that if she rose, it would either completely decapitate her or it would at least do severe damage. So I'm always fascinated by real life vampires and real life vampirism and just the scare and the shock and of it all. So I'm just, has anybody heard this? Am I the only one who's aware of this?
No,
I haven't heard
I
anything.
heard this the moment that it came out.
Oh,
The instant. I have had so many conversations about this actually, and I'm very glad to talk about this. I find it it's very interesting because it's not just the first case of a real life vampire found out in the world. You find these things for years and years and years. There's so many of them, all kind of like buried or put in a place of banishment or containment in some sort of way. And usually, do you mind if I go off? Because
Yes.
good. Okay.
Yes.
So usually in these kind of situations, usually after someone has passed or has died, what will usually happen is something will happen in like a village. Something will happen in like a nearby area. People will start disappearing, getting sick, dying with mysteriously. And usually the body of whoever has passed that is showing the most signs of, I can't remember the exact term, but usually after somebody dies, after a certain period of time, like their hair can grow still, their nails can grow, they can bleed from the mouth. So what will happen is they'll look at the body that's doing that and go, vampire.
Yeah.
Vampire, lock them down immediately, do everything you can. And depending on the specific areas, superstitions, folklore, whatever it is, that is the manners in which they'll handle.
I would love to know one day, like, when were the times that because these panics seem to happen in like spurts of years. There was the witch trials in many different times. There was over in Europe, there was the witch trials here, and then there was like later in the satanic panic. Like I wonder if it was like some spurt of something like that where everyone was just like vampires, like for a few years everything mysterious was vampires.
Yes, actually, the vampire panic was very similar to witch panic in parts of Europe. Magda actually might have some insight on that. I'm looking at her and I'm feeling as if you might have some insight. For Jack, you probably do not know, but Magda is probably the closest thing that you will ever meet to a true vampire. She is. Do you care to tell a little bit about yourself?
Oh no, that's fine. I have a genetic condition called erythropoietic protoporphyria. It is sometimes referred to as the vampire's disease. I am incapable of being in sunlight. It literally could kill me. It can cause liver failure. It's an enzyme deficiency at heart, but I step out into sunlight and it's like someone lit me on fire. It is physically painful to me. It can cause blistering, and it sounds dreadful, but I'm actually quite used to it. I was diagnosed when I was only 5, so I've just spent my life in the dark. I don't know if I gravitated towards the goth sort of thing because of that, or if I always had that in me to begin with, but I live in the dark. I'm a shadow jumper, as it was. If I step outside the house, I'm covered head to toe. I've got full-length gloves that I wear. I've got huge hats. I must wear, long sleeves and trousers and the such. But I am sometimes referred to as a vampire, but it's a form of porphyria. So there's that. So as a result, to say I had a bit of an interest in vampires from the time I was little is understating it. But honestly, my favorite of all the concepts of the vampires has got to be the first of the romantic concepts, the Byronic sort of ones, like Polidori. John Polidori's was really like the first of the literature vampires to show up. That was 1819, I think. It was 1819. And what's particularly amusing, the reason why I call it Byronic, is that it was a thinly veiled, the vampire in his short story, The Vampire, was a thinly veiled jab at Lord Byron, whom he hated with a passion. And as a result, he decided to create this horrific vampire who was Lord Ruthven, I believe was the name of it, Lord Ruthven. And he made him this English lord who was barbaric and despicable and used everyone around him. And so I said, thinly veiled jab.
Very thin, very thinly.
The beginning of the concept of the romantic vampire. Up until that point, vampires were horrors. They were monsters. They were the sort of thing that, you told scary stories to children at night to get them to behave or to not go down that dark road. Or, a women say, don't do this, you'll turn into a vampire. Don't be, stay chaste or you can become a vampire. It was a horrible thing. They were nasty and a miasma of grave dust and decay. They were horrors until you hit the Romantic era, and suddenly they become these, once again, thinly veiled creations of metaphors for sexuality. And I always found them fascinating for that purpose alone. But the fact that they still had burials to try and stop them. And I had to laugh. There are people who think that when they see cages, there are steel and lead cages over certain graves that you'll find from around that time. They say that they were for vampires, but they were not. They're actually to stop grave robbers from taking the bodies.
Just as much of a plague.
Love it.
Actually, I want
people forget grave robbers exist.
Right.
So you're touching on lore, and you're touching on like history, and so I want to go ahead and pop up our audience participation question, which I almost forgot about.
Hey.
Yeah, you can tell I'm working behind the scenes.
What is your favorite vampire legend or myth? That is a good question.
Ooh.
And I say that, okay, I can't make this stuff work right. So we're going to start with Jack, because I feel like he would have something very interesting to share on this department.
My favorite, I don't know the full story. So you're going to have to forgive me. But my favorite is about, I think his name was Jean Saint Germain. If you know of Jean Saint Germain, the idea that the idea of how he's leapfrogged through time, and how I believe it was in New Orleans, if I'm correct, that where he was staying. I might be wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Where he was staying, and people kind of believed he might be a vampire. He was very mysterious, and when he left, I'm pretty sure the legend is that they found bodies. His bodies where he was staying. I could be thinking of a different legend, but that one is one of my favorite ones. I'm pretty sure he was New Orleans. Yes.
That's okay. The people watching will end up Googling it and commenting.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, call me out. Call me out.
Fact checkers will come in.
I might
Actually,
be correct about that.
Speaking of, this is an audience participation show. So if you want to make a comment, say something, ask a question, please feel free to comment it below. We are down a backstage person.
Holy
we might be a little slow at bringing them up. Yeah, I think she's just looking at them. But this is an audience participation show, so feel free to do so.
We've already got like 110 comments.
Hi.
Oh
I have
my
a very
gosh.
very dedicated community who are incredible.
Delighted.
They are the thing.
That
fam,
is
And
awesome.
I'm having a hard time.
I love them very
I
much.
don't know what I just did.
Aw. Have you
I am
heard the new heart?
trying.
I tried the new heart thing.
Let's try that. Oh, look, I can get a few going. They
Yeah.
don't stay long. Let me try. Hang on, bear with me.
Ooh.
There's people
Okay.
saying,
It's all my
hey.
fault.
Shane
all
Lightens
me.
is he, Raven.
Hey,
Uh,
that's my lady.
Cly says, Stalker stalking you? No.
No.
No, not at all. I don't know what that is.
What is
I-
that?
Noodles?
Oh,
Spaghetti.
what am I
That's it.
doing? Okay. I
It looks
broke
like
something.
spaghetti.
It's spaghetti. It's
Oh,
healthy spaghetti. Inside joke.
See.
Love
Not
it.
privy.
Bear with me. I am so sorry.
Dark Beauty
like,
says, hello, hope all is well. I'm super hyped for Jack. So awesome. And we agree with you, Dark Beauty. We're delighted to
we
have
are
him.
very.
Hello, Amanda. Hello back.
I have quite a lot of shout outs. Serafina, hello. Brianna, hi, Fing, fam. That's cute. Mia, hello.
I'm going to pop these off, but I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to take a break from them because I am trying and I suck at this. Oh my god! I need our behind
You
the
got
scenes
this. You're
guy.
doing great.
I'm
You're
doing
amazing.
great. All
Behind
right.
the scenes guy, nah, you got this.
Oh wait. I gotta share this one. It's from Joey the Roadie.
Joey the Roadie. The science behind the appearance of hair growth and nail growth and the bleeding from the mouth of a corpse is actually even more interesting than the myth. I have to agree, because they thought that the nails were growing, they thought that the hair was growing. They would even measure to look to see, but it was actually the decay of the body, like shriveling. And
And
the
coming
nails
out further.
coming back, it made it
Yeah.
look like the hair was growing and the nails were growing, but they didn't understand the science yet at the time.
I actually.
It's like this
That is so cool.
recesses. It's recessing on it, so it looks longer. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I can see that.
And we also
Joey
have,
says that I should try out a plague doctor outfit.
I've got
To
one
be
you can
honest,
borrow.
That's for
I'm not
that's for
far off.
daytime for you, Magda.
I'm not
Oh.
far off, really. With you, I know you've seen what I look like when I'm out and about. So complete with a large parasol, and so I do have the look of a shrinking Victorian Violet.
So back on topic, did anyone else have a favorite legend or myth that they wanted to run over real quick? Run over. Roadkill. Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
My bad.
I do. Speaking of New Orleans, one of my favorite myths is that the Ursuline Convent, I think it's called the New Ursuline Convent, which I've actually been to that area. You cannot go in. I think it's a museum now, so you can go in now, but in the past you haven't always been able to go into the building. But the top floor, which has all dark windows, is believed to be the home of some of the oldest vampires in New Orleans. And I think it's
Nice.
kind of interesting that that's in the top of a convent as well.
Very Lestat.
Yes, very
have to say-
Lestat.
My absolute favorite thing, myth-wise, about vampires has got to be the saying that they kind of see themselves in a mirror. The reasoning
Yeah.
behind that was that back in the day, all mirrors were backed with silver, and silver being a holy metal was considered sacred, and therefore the devilish, horrible demon of a vampire would not be able to see themselves. However, that no longer applies. So all vampires would be able to see themselves just fine because they're no longer backed with silver.
I've always
Oh, wow.
wanted to see
They're
a
doing
short
photography.
story about that specific
Yeah.
topic. I've like the vampires never gotten to see, maybe in like water or glass, something like, but they haven't gotten to see themselves in a mirror. And who knows how many 100 years. And then one day they walk in and they're just like, oh, that's a very sharp looking, that's me. I have always wanted to see this as like a little short film or short story.
Yeah, but the problem is they would fall in love with themselves, would they not?
Mm.
I mean,
Obviously.
if you think
Of
about
course.
it, yeah, vampires are depicted as being some of the most vain creatures out there.
I bet you think
Speaking
the
of
song is about
Lestat.
you.
True. Yeah. Bet you think this song is about you. It is. Thank you.
Ugh.
I'm sorry. Vampires and witches were all vain. So
Mm. Mm.
it depends on the type of vampire, but that's just me. There's so many, and then because of the way things have progressed, because of the sexuality of vampires and it being, forbidden and all of that, and it kind of went along with the forbiddenness of sex. Just it evolved with that. It was like, don't do that or you're going to become a vampire. And then people started to kind of loosen their views on sex, and then they would look at vampires and were like, well, we were told if we were going to have sex then we're going to be a vampire, and that doesn't seem like such a bad thing. And like, as it's progressed through the time, they've gotten more attractive, more alluring, more seductive, and it's grown with the ages. It's one thing I love about the vampire myth, because as you stated earlier, they started off very pointy-eared, fanged. Like if you go back and watch the original Nosferatu, yeah, exactly. They're very supposed to not be attractive, and that's 180'd completely.
Truly has. I agree.
Well, I mean, the whole concept of incubus succubus is basically it's basically vampire lore at its earliest stages. And I know like some of the oldest vampire lore would be and I know I'm going to pronounce her name wrong, but the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet. Yes, thank you. But she is believed to be one of the oldest vampire entities. But also she is depicted as being quite beautiful, if I remember correct as well. So
Lilith is another example of that. She's thought to be one of the first vampires.
The
Fed off her own children.
Queen of monsters, queen of vampires, as she is also known. Yeah. Yes. Love the legend of Lilith. I also love like different aspects of modern times, like gaming will take into account different types of vampires. In Vampire the Masquerade, there's different classes. There's the pretty musical vampires,
Toreador.
the angry fighting ones.
Toreadors.
Bruja. Thank you. There's all of these different areas of classes you can take to build your character. And so I love that they've taken these legends and been like, okay, hang on, here's like this century and we're just going to build classes around it. It'd be great.
So if you could be gifted with one of the dark gifts that vampires are normally given, what would it be? What would be the one thing that you would want to be able to do?
Oof.
Read thought.
From the one
Duh.
thing.
The one thing.
I think reading thoughts. I think the idea of reading thoughts, it sounds like a good idea at first. It sounds really nice until you're reading what people really think of you.
Yeah.
And then you go, this sucks. Why did I do this? This is a horrible idea. I don't want to know what people think about me. Ignorance is bliss. But personally, if I could have any media portrayed vampire, Hollywood dark gift, as they're called, I really, God, there's so many. There's so many when you go from video games, literature. It's just insane. It's out of control. Honestly, I think flight is just the dream of being able to fly. There's a reason why we dream about it. Why, when you have a lucid dream about flying, you wake up and you're like, why can't I go back? Just being able to be free and fly would be it, easily, hands down. Plus, you don't have to pay for an airplane ever again.
Fair.
True.
So all of the people watching, if you have super fans, I need someone to draw a picture of Vampire Jack, like in the Superman pose, flying. This needs to be a thing.
Let's do it. Come on.
Oh, I like this shape-shifting, dark beauty. Oh,
yeah.
Shape-shifting.
I'm gonna have to go old school and just say immortality. As long as you get to stay like young and you don't like age and then stay old and keep aging in age. If you get to stay at this age, I'm gonna just stick with immortality because I feel like I could make some money and have like a better life. That's just me.
Oh.
Or you have many lives in that one life that you lived.
I would have to say the charisma, the charm, the ability to influence
the glamour.
People. To have this, there's the glamour, exactly, the glamour, the way of making people see, think, feel things by force of personality alone.
Kat,
So
how
that would
about
be the-
you?
I think that would go right along with reading thoughts as well, because the charisma aspect would come in. If you can read their thoughts and, you know, what makes people tick on the inside, that's that would be quite a gift there.
Yeah, that's like a because if you're gonna have the charisma, you've got to be able to like know what they're thinking. So they've got to be a
Absolutely.
combined gift.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's a mental game, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, mine is not popular. I am part of a vampire poet society in which I meet once a month with a group of locals that write and recite and share poetry, and we do discuss things that we would like to do. And I really hate to say this because I'm probably the more violent of the group. Kill indiscriminately.
No, not you.
Yeah, not me.
But you know
Sorry.
that
I mean, I have a list. I'm sorry. I do. I have a list.
But
There
that
are people
stuff
that I would want to
inspires.
kill.
Amazing. Amazing.
Come
But
on
she's
now.
not a serial killer or nothing. She's got
At least you're honest.
I know. Come on.
At least you're honest. That counts.
But we don't know in her mind if she's. I'm just kidding.
What is Death and Lilies? Someone says Death and Lilies comes
Oh.
out tomorrow.
That's actually, speaking of poetry, that's actually my poetry anthology is going. My second one is going to be coming out tomorrow, and tomorrow is also my birthday.
Yay!
Happy
Happy birthday!
Happy
You know,
138th birthday
Thank
again.
you.
You know what we forgot to do, DL?
What did we forget to do?
Hey, Vampire Jack, give us a quick who are you and how did you end up here?
Okay, we're only like
We
30
got
minutes
caught up.
in. How about
Caught up.
introduce
Come
yourself?
on. We got caught up. Are you kidding me? Come on, please. If you've ever seen my lives, you know I thrive on the chaos.
Your
Hi,
lives are
guys.
amazing.
We have fun. We have a fun time. Hi guys, I am the Vampire Jack Townson on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch a little bit, Instagram. I am what some would call a vampfluencer. I have a web series of the titular character Jack, and his very gothic, very, very heartbroken life and all of the horrible things that happen around him. And I have 100 as of tonight, 115,000 followers,
wow.
which is
Congrats.
wild, So thank you very much. And I also am I'm technically, it's debatable, a best-selling poetry author. I came out with my book, Blood and Roses. My second, or some would call it sophomore, book is coming out tomorrow, and that's who I am. I also do talk about living vampirism, et cetera, as well. And
Nice.
educate. Yeah.
So I'm
Yay.
curious, what is it about vampires? How did you get involved with this? What
Oh.
was the one thing that
Please.
said of all of the monsters, this is the one I want to be?
Here's the thing. So I have been, some would say, I relate to vampires from a very early age. And from that point, I have been obsessed. I love everything about them. And not only do I love the more grotesque, the more Nosferatu, Count Orlok, not only do I love those, but I love the romantic ones. The idea of the monster has been done for so long. There's so many different monsters, so many different horrors in the darkness. But vampires, especially romantic vampires, there is something so beautiful about this monster who has lost his humanity, that will never find it again, that will watch everyone around him die over time, but is still fighting and clinging to that humanity and clinging to that sense of something he will never have again. There's something so beautiful. And I have written many different vampire stories, created many different vampire characters. Majority of them have never seen the light of day. and Jack was just the one that honestly really stuck. And that's what brought me to vampires. Yes.
I have a question.
Of course.
You said you were inspired at an early age. What were some of your vampire inspirations?
Oh, first of all, Bunnicula. Come on, Bunnicula is like the number one. Yeah, right away.
I love that you
Right
said
away, right away.
Bunnicula. I love that.
Bunnicula.
Maybe
Come
I
on, draining the carrots until they're just white, and the kid's like, "It's the rabbit," and no one believes him. Oh, it's
Evil
amazing.
buddy with sharp pointed teeth.
Yes,
Sorry.
and he has a widow's peak. It's amazing. It's amazing. But other than Bunnicula, Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice, obviously. I loved Amelia Atwater Rhodes. I loved her vampire series as well. I was very much inspired by Blade, by Morbius. People would laugh, but Morbius was I haven't seen the movie, but Morbius was incredible. The comics, Spider-Man the animated series, Morbius, etc., etc., etc. And of course, and I preach it on my lives, Bram Stoker's Dracula, hands down. The moment that I saw the movie, I was like, "This is it. There you go. That's the entire thing for me." So
nice. Were there any like other kids vampire? Because there's a few out there. There's a few like kids vampire shows and stuff. I remember growing up watching The Little Vampire, like the live action, and then recently I saw on Netflix The Little Vampire, but it was like animated, but they took all of the actors from the original movie and pretty much made them into an animated movie and redid it, and it was wonderful. I had my child watch it.
If we're going to mention
I have my son watch it too.
My little girl, my little girl absolutely loves Vampirina Ballerina.
Oh,
have you seen that one? It's so precious.
I haven't seen that one.
I got the book
cute
for her when she was still very little. I got Vampirina, and there's also Zombolina. And Monster High as another one that my daughter just absolutely fell for. I know, had I had that when I was a little girl, I would have gone for that in a heartbeat. You know, forget Barbie. I was no, she's
right. Where was Monster High when we were
Monster High? You know,
it came out later.
Excited.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I saw that because it was just perfect for giving to my daughter, and she's grown up with that. Between that and my Living Dead dolls, it's.
My youngest child, she was so into Monster High, and it was just a reason for me to get more dolls and play with her. So I was just like,
I have several. I have some that I bought just because I thought they were absolutely adorable. I mean, there's one called Operetta. It's the daughter of the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah,
and I got that because my daughter, here like mine, but grew up in the South, so she's like a rockabilly goth, which pretty much describes my daughter. So it's perfect.
Oh.
And I love her so much for that. You know that, correct? But okay, so if you could be part of any vampire franchise, whether you could be written into a story or be part of a movie, TV shows, what would it be?
Or play a character. Sorry, I'm gonna throw that in there. I want to know what character he would want to play.
Oh yeah, there we go. We'll
this
just
is
keep adding
a
to it.
hard one. This is a hard one.
The answer
number one,
is
I want to
yes.
answer this in the most biased way possible and just be like,
do
my
it.
story.
Do
Make
it.
my story into a movie. Let's go. Come on.
I'm
No,
down.
that's good. I'm watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, so for anyone who has not watched the stories that Vampire Jack has come up with on TikTok, and like, it is not just like, oh, there's a 30-second thing and they're acting and it's done. No, like, it's like chronological. You have to like sit here and start with the first one. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And it's a freaking movie in itself, and it's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna stop fangirling now.
No, keep going. Please continue. No, I love it. It's hilarious.
All of these comments are nothing but we want to see the Vampire Jack story. So there's that.
Apparently you need the movie.
Yeah. Yes. Which we agree. We agree with totally.
It would be my dream. It would be my dream. I always say in my lives too, if anybody ever came back around, we're like, hey, let's make this movie. We're like, let's go. Peanuts. I'll take Peanuts. Let's just do it. I don't care. Let's make it work. I'll adapt it. Let's go. Someone was like, oh, Disney. I was like, yeah, Disney vampires. It's about time. We need a Disney vampire prince. Let's go, please.
I'm all for this. I'm all for this. Thank you, Mia.
Movie. Let's do it.
Other than my own story, because I'm biased, any existing franchise, I would have to say, oh, that's so hard. Lestat, Louis,
she
I would
said.
love to do. I would love to do any iteration of Dracula, but I think my number one, and people are gonna go crazy. Hands down, I would love to be Alucard from Helsing. Give me Alucard from Helsing.
Interesting.
Nice.
Please.
I like that. Okay.
Please give me a good live action adaptation, and I would be the first one in line. I'd be like, let's go, Helsing, let's go, please.
Okay, so I have a question for the audience. Who would you like to see Vampire Jack portray?
Me first.
Okay,
Me first. Me first.
DL, you're part of the audience. Go.
I'm good. Louis. I'm sorry. You're giving off Louis vibes so much.
I disagree.
No. The heartbroken.
See,
Okay, Magda.
I feel like you just get the Louis because he's brunette. I really feel like he could kill a Lestat. I'm on the opposite end.
Agreed. That's not a question.
Okay, wait. Here's
On
my
my page.
Aria says Lestat.
See, he's got the smile, that grin. You were just that ha ha ha. Like
I've done both. See, I've done the cosplays for both on my channel, and
No.
so it's hard. It's hard because there's this me, but then there's also.
See, and okay.
That
So this
me.
is what I'm used to
So it's
seeing.
difficult.
This is what I am used to seeing,
the sad puppy
and
dog,
that is
guys.
100% Louis.
What about Jean-Claude from the Anita Blake?
Oh, give it to me! Oh, please, Jean-Claude, let's go.
You know,
Wow. I mean,
by
yes,
the way,
absolutely.
Vampire Laurel K. Hamilton, the writer, is on TikTok. Is gaining a TikTok following, and she's absolutely wonderful. I was trying so hard to get her on this show with us because I'm friends with her on TikTok, and I was just like, hey, if you're free.
Wait. This comment.
Yeah.
That's a
Vampire
good
Hunter
one.
D.
Thank you.
Good. I
Thank
do
you.
like it.
Great.
I could see
Okay.
that. I could see that.
Very good.
See, everyone's
I
just
love
sitting here
it.
fangirling over
Yes.
Jack.
Listen,
That's what this
you act like
invention
it's
is.
not a plan to give you the D, but it's the plan. I will give the D. Don't worry, it's coming.
That's what he said? Like, what are we going with here?
All right. All right.
Okay. I do have to agree with Magda though. Jean-Claude from Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series would be absolutely a great
Yes.
role for him.
They
That
saw
would
me do a
actually
cosplay.
that would be a really wonderful one.
I have a T-shirt that says Jean-Claude's tub toy.
You have a T-shirt that says what?
Jean-Claude
Magda!
tub toy.
That was her
Magda!
first time with him in the tub in like book 5. Not that I've read them 5 times or more.
Very descriptive.
Yes. And okay, come on. Can we just all agree Jean-Claude is so much a better character than Richard in that series? Can we just please all agree on that?
This one's for you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh wait. Oh, okay. So this is not a vampire, but Duncan from Highlander.
That's fair.
Nice.
Fair?
Yeah.
We will
It's
take
coming.
that.
No.
It's
Speaking
coming.
as a Highlander,
Is
I'm
it
gonna
really?
say yes.
Yeah. No, the only thing that I need now is the kilt, and that's the last piece. And
Easy
I'm
to find.
I kind of want to make it. I kind of want to make it look very like rugged, you know, and give it my.
It's
best.
called the Great Kilt, and I have multiples in my closet as we speak. It's
What about
easy.
Vampire Bill? Vampire Bill is so whiny. By the way, this is my mother.
Eric Northman is a bit more my speed.
Eric, no, how could Sookie Stackhouse ever choose
Can I-
Vampire Bill
Oh, I
over
mean,
Eric's
no
freaking
spoilers.
Northman?
I'm sorry.
Eric, come on. Give me. I say this too. Give me an Eric Northman True Blood spin-off series. Where is it?
Yes.
Please.
Do it.
I know.
Where is
And
it?
Pam
Please.
needs
I
to
will
be
take
in
it.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
But I
sorry.
need to
Pam.
do this. It needs to happen. This needs to happen real quick.
Hotter than
Okay.
Eric is Pam.
Yes.
Hands down.
Suki is mine.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
They might have been-
Wait a minute.
No,
Us
A
con
variant
girls
of
agree
Loki.
with Mia.
Can there be
Us
a
con girls.
vampire variant of
oh,
Loki?
I do like that now.
Oh my god.
You
Can
act
we
like
get a
I'm not
vampire
planning
Loki?
that.
Mm,
Can we get a vampire Loki? Oh, please.
I want
Please.
to see
Absolutely.
Say
that.
that's a thing. Say that's a thing.
I want to see
Oh my
that.
god. Okay, so I do
It will
have.
Oh my
be.
God.
It will be a thing.
I'm
Okay.
trying to bring the show back.
Chaos.
Do we
Chaos.
have a topic?
We're
We have a
too
topic.
popular, Jack dang.
Okay.
So
I
I
love
have
these
another
comments, but I'm
question.
going to lay off of them for a minute because I'm
Okay.
reading them and like, oh, show this one.
Oh, this is fun.
So I have a question. When it comes to vampire movies or TV shows, specifically where you see the vampire visually, how do you feel on fang placement and why do you feel like they did? Because there's always like, there's the
Ah.
outside ones, there's the
Great
inside ones,
question.
there's the both. How do you feel on that?
So I think it comes down to you have to really think about it because there's so many factors. Number one, you have to think about the vampire being able to get away with being a vampire, being able to survive.
Mm.
So in all honesty, in all reality, things like these, which are Interview with the Vampire, Lestat, leave would lacerate, would cause a very, very obvious wound. But at the same time, you'd be able to get away with it because I'm going way too deep, but I'm going to go too deep.
No.
But at the same time, if somebody saw the bite, they'd be like, that's obviously an animal attack.
Mm.
You get away with it. So these, in all honesty, while it's kind of like more brutal, I think this is the best version because it's most animalistic. I think the True Blood fangs, which are just the Asian,
The pop out fangs.
the pop-out fangs, I think those ones, I think they look silly. I think they look silly. I think it's like, I think it reminds me just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I'm a vampire. It doesn't, there's no fear. There's no mystique. And then their classics, of course, or either the doubles, which Dracula, so many vampires we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat a classic. So I think the Lestat ones, the Queen of the Damned, Anne Rice, Interview are my number one, and then classic Dracula, classic vampire, and then number 3 is the later. Oh yeah, I forgot. Isn't it? It's Nosferatu that has the mids.
The two right in
The
the middle.
mids, yeah.
The two.
It's like buck
That's
tooth
last.
vampire.
That's
So-
dead. It's
Sort
dead
of
last.
evil rabbit.
That's what I would end up with. That's just
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask about this. Do the voice. What is the voice?
What is the
What's
voice?
this?
Which
Someone
one?
said do the voice. What
Somebody
voice?
said do the voice.
What voice?
So many voices, so many characters. You have to
Elaine,
do
please
voices.
elaborate.
It
We need
must
to
have
know
been-
what
yeah.
the voice is.
Oh,
It
true,
can't be any
true.
sillier than Vampire's Kiss starting Nicolas Cage. That one
That's
is so
true.
funny. Oh, that's no.
I'm a vampire.
So, question one more. Sorry, question off the
That's
question
not-
of
I'm gonna
of the vampire fangs. When it comes to fang placement, combined with healing factor, because sometimes they have the healing saliva and such, does that deter your opinion at all with the traditional like 2 fangs if they have the healing saliva, or they can like, what is it, they would like give them a drop of their blood and it wouldn't turn them, it would just heal them for a little bit? Was that True Blood? Something like
I
that.
like the True Blood version of that. I really do like the version because the saliva one, I'm like, like I can see it like kind of like a cat, but a cat doesn't really have that fully, and like I could kind of see it. But like I do like the idea, even though I hate the fangs, I do like the idea after they feed, Bill or Eric would just go, nah, and then rub the wound to make it heal, and be like, oh. That is actually really, really clever. I like that, but I'm still not sold on things. I still
They've
not sold.
specified they want Aiden's voice with the laugh.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that. Getting a lot of that.
People love Aiden. They love Aiden. All right. So if you follow my story, Aiden is my current big bad. Actually, if you call season 2 has just closed, and we're in our post season 2. Aiden has been I'm not going to spoil, but what I'll say, go watch and you'll see. But Aiden, okay, oh God, hello, I am the vampire Aiden Pierce. And then the laugh is way more terrifying than the voice, because the voice is silk. It's refined, enjoyable, lures you in closer. But then the laugh is...
I hate that.
I love it.
Like a hyena. You got it. Like a
Somebody
hyena.
said that. Somebody said hyena. Aiden's hyena laugh.
Hyena laugh.
The hyena
That's
laugh.
No.
That's an estuary vampire. I
Same
like
concept, too, for the characters. Same concept.
Let me just throw out there, if you ever need like a vampire, like, hi, this is the vampire call line, what do you need? Like, give me a call. I'll throw you a few clips.
Let's go.
It'll be really fun.
Oh, no. Let's go.
I don't think anyone wants to listen to a Scottish vampire.
I would listen to a Scottish
ma'am?
vampire.
I don't
vampire.
see
I
it.
totally disagree.
I don't see
I
it.
totally disagree.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so like vampires
butter on a hot
are...
tortilla.
Yes,
That's all I gotta
vampires
say.
are that. Much better than what I was going to say. And also the Scottish accent is that. So like those combined with just this, I don't want to say scissoring. What am I doing here? The two make the one.
Say
'Cause
scissoring.
tonight
Look what
is the
scissoring
night when two become one. I'm done.
What the hell?
What was that?
Oh, God. I didn't even... Okay, wait a minute.
I
Wait a
enjoyed
minute. Bliss says she would love
Aw.
to hear a Scottish vampire.
That's very.
I
Who
agree.
wouldn't?
People
I think it's a
love
great
accents.
idea.
Yeah.
It's so adorable
Oh,
that everyone
please.
thinks that I sound so lovely when in reality I'm common as dirt.
No.
Not to us.
You are not
to us.
coming.
Ooh,
to-
that was a
Oh,
good
no.
question.
Very
Can you-
unique.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
What
good.
was the
Sorry,
question?
hold the last
I
one.
have heard
last
your
comment back
accent
up.
described as
Oh.
butter on a hot tortilla, and I would tend to agree.
Yes. Someone had posted a question a second ago. I think it was something along the lines of,
What the?
how do you feel about the Twilight vampires? And I missed their name. I was trying to
Oh.
read it.
Was
There
it
we
this
go.
one?
They're doing this on
Rachel
purpose.
Combs.
They're doing this
Oh.
on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is on
I don't.
purpose.
Yeah.
Hate.
Okay,
Do
I'm
you
just
want
gonna
me to
tell you,
rant?
I am not a fan.
Please do say.
Yes.
I would love to hear your opinion on this, Jack.
I would like to hear it. I've read all of the books, so let's do this.
Let's go. Let's have fun with this. Okay. All right. So I have theories. I have lots of theories. I have
Okay.
lots of thoughts on the Twilight vampires. People that watch my lives know my thoughts because I literally bring this up almost every single live.
I'm sure it's asked
if you
every live.
if you enjoy Twilight, of course, yes, already. If you enjoy Twilight, that's your thing. I absolutely don't hate Twilight. I have no problem with Twilight. Actually, I think that, when Twilight came out, I was in high school and I saw it and I spammed the soundtrack and I had my hold on Bella, hold on Spider Monkey moments, but they're not vampires.
Originally,
they?
they were written to be fae.
Would they?
Oh yes,
Thank you.
I called it.
Okay.
Originally, they were written to be what? Hold on, I missed that. What did you say?
Fae.
Originally?
Fae.
Fae, fairies, fae.
Oh, well, they
That makes
inspired
so much
that.
sense.
That show inspired 50 Shades of Grey. Believe it or not.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, 50 Shades of Grey was a fan fiction story, if I remember correct, from that spun off of Twilight. But
Yep, it was.
I am okay. So my oldest child was a huge Twilight fan. I was not so much a Twilight fan because I am more of an Anne Rice fan. And yeah, I feel
I
I
like
read
there's an epic
them.
rap battles of history of that, like Twilight versus Anne Rice.
I'm
Sorry.
so,
If
yeah.
anyone
versus
remembers
Lestat.
that show.
Edward versus Lestat would be amazing.
I know.
They need to do that.
Lestat would stomp his ass in a heartbeat.
Oh.
We
Do y'all
know
remember
that.
epic
Oh,
rap
pretty
battles?
obvious.
I do.
Okay, it's not just me. Yeah.
Same. But yeah,
Everybody keeps saying glitter
zombies.
zombies. Okay,
Glitter
and
zombies.
somebody, Bliss has asked Jack about his apple juice. What is this?
So
You
on
die
lives,
out.
so on lives, can you guys hear me? I pressed the button weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
You
Okay.
did.
On my lives, I'll always have some kind of a beverage, and I'll have people come in and they'll be like, "Are you drinking the red sticky icky?" I'll call it, and I'll say, "No, I drink apple juice." But the truth is, I just really do love apple juice, and I have it almost every single live. So it's just playing with the audience and having fun.
Love
I drink
it.
a lot of grape juice.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yes.
big cranberry fan.
Fermented. But,
But
what
my
it-
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go.
no.
No, I don't. But I don't want to interrupt.
No, we run over everybody.
You had talked about glitter zombies that
I
wanted to
did
explain
have
my
thoughts.
theory.
Yeah. To me, the Twilight vampires. If you go back to the original Fae kind of beginnings, it makes more sense because they did drink blood and they did have all of those types of legends. Now, when it came to reading the books, they were a little slow. I didn't mind the sparkliness so much because in the book she described them as marble-esque. So if you've ever seen marble, like a marble statue up close and the way it shimmers in the light, that was how it was described in the books. In the movies, they were just like, smear it with glitter and make it go. And the movies got a lot of bad rap. A, the writing wasn't great. But B, everyone's just like, God, the acting's so bad. Bella's so like there's no emotion. Have you read the books? That character has zero. She's playing the character to a T, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
There is no emotion there. She's doing a great job. That was my only thing, that everyone hated Kristen Stewart for the longest time because of these movies. And I kept like, I'm not like a yay Twilight kind of person, but at the same time, I'm like, y'all, she acted what she was given.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
No, you're right.
The character was not written as a strong character by any stretch of the imagination.
It was not. And the Twilight hate ended up moving onto the actor hate. And like, no one wanted to see Rob Pattinson as Batman. No one wanted to see. Yeah. And it infuriated me. I'm not even gonna lie. I was mad. I was just like, y'all, did you read the freaking book? She acted the character. She was wonderful for what she was given.
Despite my opinions on any sort of story, I'm never going to do that to the actor or the actress.
Exactly.
That's not fair.
No.
They're just, it's their job. They're doing their job. And 9 times out of 10, they're doing a more spectacular job than the script allows anyway. So no, I never hate on an actor or actress or their character.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was my whole tangent. I'm done.
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I did have one more vampire that came to mind, which is going to show my age because I'm old.
No.
Barnabas Collins.
Barnabas Collins.
I love Barnabas.
That would be good.
He was so romantic and yet a bastard at the same time. Loved him. I grew up watching Dark Shadows with my mom. So
I love Dark Shadows. I mean, it's honestly, I wanted to go. There used to be Dark Shadow cons where conventions where you could go and meet the actors. I've actually met the young lady, or she's not a young lady anymore, who played Angelique. The original Angelique, Sarah Parker Pratt, I think is her name. So I did have the opportunity to meet her, and she was absolutely just a lovely person. But we were supposed to, my brother and I were actually supposed to go to a Dark Shadows convention, but it was the year that Jonathan Frid passed. So we ended up not going. I know. It was very heartbreaking, and I hate that we didn't do it, but I don't even know if they actually had it because of his passing. But he was a staple at those, and I'm sorry. I love Barnabas.
So I have to ask,
supernatural soap opera.
Jumping off of Dark Shadows, could y'all see any What We Do in the Shadows? I just want to see a traffic cone on top of Vampire Jack's head, just being like,
I think you just need Donna Bakers.
I love Nadja so much. Oh my God, she's my spirit animal.
Oh my God,
she's such a bitch.
She is such a.
The show is. I love the show and I love the movie. The movie is incredible as well. And I did a short What We Do in the Shadows one while back. I need to come back to it. I really do. For cosplay, etc. For sure.
Nice. All right. Are there any other shows or movies that we haven't mentioned that anyone's just been like, I've been waiting to mention? Okay. Oh, go. You're nodding. Yes.
Moonlight.
What?
Have you ever seen Moonlight?
What is Moonlight? Wait a minute. What?
Oh my God! You've never seen. This is a great opportunity.
Hey,
I am
Google.
so blessed. I am blessed that I am the one to give this to you. Moonlight, hands down, in my opinion, is one of the greatest vampire shows in existence. It didn't get a second season, if I remember,
Right.
but Moonlight is incredible. You follow a private eye who is also a vampire, and you follow his life and kind of his own struggles with being a vampire. And the story is honestly incredible. And it didn't get a second season, but the characters, the actors, everyone did a bang up job. It was incredible. It was amazing. It was on CW Seed for a little while. I don't know if it's still on there, but you can definitely get it probably on Amazon Prime. Really, really good.
Nice.
Honestly.
Oh, no, I have to say, my absolute favorite vampire movie of all time has to be The Hunger.
Thank you.
Catherine Deneuve.
David
it's
Bowie.
Catherine Deneuve and David
Yes.
Bowie. I love Catherine Deneuve. She's just such an amazing
Susan
French
Sarandon.
actress. And Susan Sarandon. Aye.
Beautiful
It's
movie.
so lovely. But yeah, David Bowie is just tragic and lovely and terrifying. And Catherine Deneuve is absolutely frightening and beautiful. Just
Yes.
love it. It's not your typical vampire flick. There's no real, they don't really mention the concepts. They don't, and it's very artist. They don't show a lot of it, but it's more implied. But it's just so, it's lovely. It screams 80s art film. It's fabulous. Love it. If you haven't seen it,
I've never
you
seen
should
it.
watch it. The Hunger. Oh, it's
The Hunger.
lovely.
I have to check it out.
I
I
highly
think I've
recommend it.
seen it, but I
recommend it.
think I was younger.
It might be confusing when you're younger.
Yeah.
Just
I
a
would
bit.
have to throw in, and I know we mentioned it earlier, but it wasn't really talked about because I know people absolutely hate this movie, and I get why, but Queen of the Damned. It has
I love Queen of the Damned.
It has
I love Queen of
such-
the Damned.
such a good soundtrack. I love
Thank you.
the person that they cast as Lestat.
Yes!
I get why they had to mess with some things in the book, like Magnus was made into Marius. So they combined the characters. This one guy made Lestat, whatever. And then they had to cut the Queen of the Damned because there was the plane crash and all of that through the middle of the movie. But
Yes.
and by the way, they did bring in their brother to finish off like side roles of them as Akasha in that movie because they were
wow.
so identical. Scenes of that movie are actually their brother in the costume finishing off roles after that had
Wow.
happened to just try and get the movie completed.
I didn't know that.
But I get why people are mad. It didn't follow the source material. They combined characters, anger. But when it came to what they could put together with what had happened and the people passing away, I loved it. And I know Anne Rice
I did
hated
too.
it, so I'm sorry, Anne Rice. But
Yeah.
also, I'm getting people like literally they're messaging me because there's so much happening in the comments. They're like people.
I know. I'm so sorry. I cannot get
No,
to them
you're
fast
good.
enough. There's so many.
Apparently, everyone is calling for Clarence.
Yes.
Calling for Clarence.
I love them so much. Clarence, okay. This is not even vampire related. Clarence, I had a quick video. There was a night where I was up with my girlfriend, Shane Layton, who is incredible. And
Absolutely
I had
incredible.
made waffles, and I had a clip of myself on TikTok just holding this. Holding the waffle in the air like I was Rafiki holding Simba, and I went and I will name him Clarence, and I have merch with Clarence now at the waffle, and it's constantly referenced, and people love Clarence.
Nice.
Yep.
I am seeing that in the comments.
We're a
It's
fun
like-
bunch.
Yeah.
I also
Actually-
have someone messaging saying hemochromatosis kills vampires according to Morpheus, which fun fact that runs in my family. So
Mine as well. Aye, my sister has hemochromatosis.
Hey,
Is
hemochromatosis family.
Eli? Is that Eli? Because he posted that earlier. I'm sorry, Eli.
No,
I
that
didn't
was
get to
my
that.
mother because she has
Oh.
hemochromatosis.
Oh, I see.
Actually,
Aye,
I'm
aye.
one of my favorite films, one of my favorite vampire films, and they are a bit more violent, was 30 Days of Night.
Oh,
And
that
one
was
of the
lovely.
reasons that I love 30 Days of Night is because every vampire had a blood pattern on their face that was very different and very unique to them. And it was just something that I fell in love with. I mean, these were violent, these were bad guys, but they had an element of love for themselves within their group. But yeah, I love 30 Days a Night so much. I thought it was
I want to
gorgeous.
piggyback.
There's another one.
Okay,
Go.
piggyback. Go ahead.
I agree.
There's-
Oh, please. That actually is what inspired the Aiden laugh. It wasn't just a hyena. It's the of
That's
the
screeching.
Oh, that was the
Oh,
screaming that they
nice.
did.
from 30 Days
Yes.
of Night. It's and if you watch the behind the scenes, if you go into the origin of that sound, it's supposed to be very animalistic. It's how they communicate specifically through that guttural sound.
Mhm.
But if you ever read the graphic novels for 30 Days of Night, you have to, I'm so serious, you have to read the second one. Is really, really interesting, and it takes off right where the movie ends.
I have to see
I check it out. It's actually really amazing. In my
one
opinion.
other movie that you must see if you want to see a non-traditional vampire movie is called Near Dark.
I was going to bring it up.
I've heard of it. People keep telling me
Yes!
to watch it.
No
They keep
one
telling
ever
me.
says vampire. They don't have fangs, but they feed on blood, and they're mostly immortal and have issues with sunlight. But it's fantastic. You must see Near Dark. It's
It is
magnificent.
so good.
Isn't
I
there
haven't
something in
seen
that?
it. I haven't seen it as an adult. I remember it from a child, and I remember there was like a boy child vampire in the movie. And I
Homer.
remember identifying with that character so much.
Oh, it was a
I-
great movie.
I keep wanting to go back and rewatch it, but you have to like pay for it to rewatch it.
So somebody commented on here, Resident Evil 8. A lot of people think that Lady Dimitrescu has porphyria.
Ketona tarda. I know
Thank
this
you.
one. Porphyria ketona tarda. That's one of the ones that's close to the branch that I have. This is a
But she was-
acute porphyria. Porphyria
Uh-huh.
ketona tarda deals with the skin and with eye. So it's similar to mine. It's in the same branch, in the same family, because there's two types. There's ones that deal with the skin and the liver, and ones that deal with the brain. And so, like, we've got, the madness of King George. They believe that he had acute intermittent porphyria, which causes severe mental issues because there's a
Interesting.
brain barrier problem. But mine is a form that's cutaneous. It deals with the skin. It's also hepatic, deals with the liver. So yeah, porphyria ketona tarda has a lot of the skin issues, but it also has a lot of the acute porphyria. So that actually would make a lot of sense.
So
Sorry,
our
I keep going
friend,
off on that.
oh no. You know I'm a fan because Lady D is pretty much one of my characters that she's one of my
you're
cosplayers that I
Drop
go
dead
to.
gorgeous as her.
Oh, thank you.
So
So
I just
Eli
had a friend lose their brain over seeing you as her,
Oh,
and
crap, we're
went
past the
to the
hour.
Murdering Crows, your band, as a result of seeing you as the lady.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
oh, and I appreciate that so much. I really do. So Eli commented, "Let the Right One In," which is one of my absolute favorite. I love this
So
movie so
Absolutely.
much. And the Swedish film more so than the Americanized version, which is
I
"Let Me In" or something.
Me
I think
In.
it's
Let me in. Yeah.
And I think that was a beautiful movie, very well done.
Mhm.
I got to watch that recently at I do believe it was there was an event that we went to. Actually, it was associated with the Vampire Poet Society. We went and did a movie night, and we saw that, and it was quite lovely. And I forgot how much I loved that movie.
We are past the top of the hour, so if anyone has anything
Yeah.
they want to say last minute, you're gonna need to say it now. I do have a quick question. There was
Yes.
a lot of vampire true crime that I did not get to research that I wanted to. Would y'all be interested in a second
Yes.
Why?
episode
Yes.
where
Absolutely.
I go? Yeah, we could all go into some vampire true crime and react to that together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
heck
Of
yeah.
course. This was a blast. This was so much fun.
Awesome. Okay. Because yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about, and yeah, I want to see all his reactions to things.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I'm all for that.
Anyone else want to throw in something last minute before we do the goodbye thing? Wow, silence.
Yes, silence.
Awesome.
Somebody said Vampire Poet Society sounds like Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
But with a twist. It pretty much is. Yeah. So I do have one more question, and I'm just curious. I'm going to throw it out there because I really want to know. Vampire Jack, do you believe that vampires are real?
That is a very good question. That is a very long answer. That is not a short answer. That is a very, very long answer. But the abridged short version that I can give is it depends on in what way. It depends on what form, because there are so many different types of vampires, so many different media, folklore, just all over the world. So I believe there is something of reality within the myth or within somewhere in history. Maybe.
All right, Magda, same question.
I don't know if she can hear you.
Magda, can you hear me? I think we lost her.
Okay. Kat?
No?
Kat?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you think
Okay.
vampires are real?
Energy vampires? Yes. Definitely people that will suck out your soul with their with some of their crap. But as far as people having to survive off of the living, I'm gonna go with no.
That's
Okay.
fair.
All right. Lauren?
My answer would be very similar to Kat's. I believe energy vampires are real. People who feed off of other people around them. Not only that, but just people who feed off of energy. It could not just be people. It could be plants. It could be past events that have happened in an area around them. I believe they're called, what is it, psychic or psionic vampires?
Psychic.
Psychic vampires. Back in the day of like AOL chat room texting or psionic vampires. Okay, anyway, sorry. But I believe those types of vampires are very potentially real. I know people who are empaths, and to me, yeah, you can feel the energy around you, but also you're really draining it too, sweetheart. But that's just my opinion. When it comes to people who are vampires who have to feed off of literal blood and all of that, I believe it is a condition that people believe that they are, but I think it is a psychological condition that they think that they are, rather than a physical, they have to. I think it's just they believe they have to, if that makes sense.
Come on.
Did I break something?
No, my two children are like hovering. Oh my god.
Hi, children.
Okay, I say children, but one is 26 and the other one is 16, so they're not really
Children. Okay. I love your answer. I really do. So here's my thought. And Magda, can you hear us yet? Are you able to interact with us? I don't think she can hear us. Magda?
Blink twice if you can hear us.
I actually am very fascinated by the fact that there is vampire lore within every region of the world. So I think that's something to be. I think there's something to be said for that. I do believe that there are energy vampires. I know quite a few, and I think that empaths have a tendency to be energy vampires, although we don't call them that. If you ever notice, empaths have a tendency to be introverts, and introverts love extroverts until we don't love them anymore. Until we have completely drained them. You know that's true, correct?
I agree. But not every case, but I agree with some.
Okay. But I do believe there's some I don't know, there's some element of sanguine activity that takes place that I think is much needed. I'll leave it at that. Let your minds wander.
Did you have something to say on that,
Can
Jack?
can I piggyback?
Yeah.
So I think it all comes down to okay. Okay. All right. So this is the interesting thing. So this is the thing. So it depends on your definition of a vampire. It depends on your definition of what a vampire is, but also it depends on your spirituality. Because there's so many different religions, religious beliefs. There's so many different things of also folklore. Correct. Mm-hmm. We all know, knowing vampires, that the Hollywood interpretation of a vampire started from literature. It started, as you said, Lord Byron, Bram Stoker, Anne Rice. These are all Hollywood interpretations of vampires. These are all fictitious. These are all things that are obviously made up. I always talk about one of the most interesting facts is that Bram Stoker, to write Dracula, did 8 years of research on real folklore in order to actually write about Dracula. Do I believe that there is this nightmarish undead ghoul who stalks the night, burns into flame in the sunlight, etc., etc.? No, it's Hollywood. It's fictitious, it's fake, and not only that, but it's just folklore. There are people making up certain things to explain people dying in very random, uncertain ways, or inexplicable blood loss, etc., etc., right? But, and here's my counter. Here's my but. There are, and I think a lot of us know about the idea of it. Many communities, there are many different people who would identify as real life vampires. There are many different types of people, many different types of what they would believe are real life vampires. And when you look at this thing on like the face, you stop and you look at the face of it, right? You go, well, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's got to be a mental disorder. Obviously, it has to be a mental illness. There has to be something else in this, yada, yada, yada. But when you stop and you think about the idea of energy, I'm not going to go off, I promise. When you stop and think about the idea of energy, and you start and realize that the idea of energy exists. We know energy exists. Many of us can't see it, but we know it's there. We know that we know it from Ki, we know it from Prana, we know it from Shen, we know it from so many different names, titles, etc., 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 etc. But you also have to think about what the real life lore of vampires actually comes from. That it doesn't start at Romania or anything. That it goes so far back. So it's kind of really difficult because obviously there's no winged creature flying through the air to steal us and kidnap us and take us into captivity to feed on our blood. But the idea of the spirituality behind it, the idea of energy, when you think about it and you realize that a lot of academics, as well as I think it was, please someone correct me if I'm wrong, Chicago or Ohio, one of the hospitals actually was working with Reiki to actually heal.
I think it was Chicago.
Energy work. So there is the idea that maybe there are people who lack that full energy, that lack what they need, because we all get sick in certain ways. You know, there was a time where people thought that the idea of mental disorders was fictitious, was, this taboo thing and no one's affected and it's so strange, it's so odd. But now in this current day and age, we all know, many of us, majority of us know that mental health is extremely important. The brain can become as sick as the body. So if the body can become sick and the brain can become sick, why not your energy?
Yes.
I 100% believe that your energy can become sick. And I do believe that I have encountered people whose energy has become sick. I fall into that category of what you would call an extroverted introvert. And I do love other people's energy. So I have a tendency to feed off of other people's energy, for lack of a better explanation. People who are a bit more outgoing than I am have a tendency to build me up and put me out there. Yes, Lauren, that would be you. But no, I firmly believe that energy is associated with vampirism, and that the idea of blood consumption is purely sexual. The
Yeah.
Yes, but the energy aspect of it is life. So just go with
I
that.
disagree with the blood consumption being purely sexual. I feel like maybe to some people it is, but I also feel like to a lot of other people it's, quote, and please see the quotation marks in the air here, scientific. Because
Have you ever consumed blood when it hasn't been in a sexual environment?
yes. Anyway.
Wait, wait. We're going to back up
Hi.
on this one. I know we're way over our time, but you have just opened a topic. What?
Yeah. No, I have. Straight up, like, I was obsessed with vampires as a kid, and I was like, is this a thing? And I had a friend, and they're like, I don't know, let's try the thing together. And it wasn't sexual, we were just experimenting.
I
with
disagree.
blood and all that. To me, it was
It
more
can't
scientific to see if it did carry, and the blood itself to see if it carried energies. We were trying to figure it out. We were young. We were like, is this or we're gonna explode science, guys, with our.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Thank you. Stacy says it's intimate. It is the most intimate of practices that you can possibly do.
I
It's not-
disagree.
not
I can figure.
Back in the day, they would stick leeches on people and think that was gonna heal people.
No, that's
because
called
they thought that-
bloodletting. That's a different thing.
Bloodletting.
Blood
Yeah,
consumption. Bloodletting is something totally different. That is medical.
Exactly. Why
We're gonna
does one?
fight.
It didn't work, but
We
yeah.
are. Bring it. Like, why does one sort
Fun.
of blood bringing in to have the energy upon them have to be sexual, and the other sort of just being like, this is a thing I need for my own livelihood? Why can't that not be sexual? Like, I
How
feel like
did you obtain the blood?
I was like 14 and they were like 14, and we decided that needles
I'm
were a
sorry.
thing.
You know what? I'm sorry. There are people who are sexually active at 14. So
That's true.
True.
That is very true.
how
was.
did you
Um,
obtain it?
Needles. We wanted to see if we could draw energy through blood, because we had recently gotten into vampirism and witchcraft, and we wanted to see where the combination was between the two, if there was some energy that could connect through blood itself, if you can use blood in spells, if energy is blood to put in spells.
Yes, that's called
then
sex
and
magic.
then why is it such a weird phenomenon for energy to be something you can give to someone else through blood itself? And so we were trying to figure that out, because we were 14, and we were like trying, I'm gonna cure the world with bloodletting and leeches.
And your
Do a
staph
show on sex
infection to
magic.
go with it.
So I can actually help on this.
Yeah.
So once again, it all comes down to the spiritual aspect. It all comes down to energy. And while a lot of people don't have a spiritual aspect, a lot of people think about energy and they go, well, I can't see it, I can't touch it, it can't be real, yada 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 yada. But Buddhist monks, there are plenty of cultures, the ancient Egyptians, so many cultures all over the world, completely disconnected, that all came to the same conclusion, that energy is real.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
multiple forms.
It is.
So when you stop and you think
It
about
is.
it this way, blood, yes, of course, the idea of having blood and having that intimate relation, of course, that is intimate. Of course, that is sexual. Of course, there is a primordial aspect of it, of course. But you have to think about the way Dracula says it, right? Blood is the life.
Yes,
The
it
blood is the life. So when you stop and you think about it, prana, life force energy. Blood doesn't have to mean that, oh yes, it's the blood cells and yada yada. It is the idea of the pranic energy within the blood. It's not the blood itself. But once again, would that be something that would really benefit somebody that needed this? Not that well. It would be, you would have to take so much. It would be a completely unreasonable thing.
I have never been
yes.
involved in blood play that is not sexual in nature.
I have.
Well, when you think of when you're talking about the life force and the energy force of the body, there is there
This is
there
fun.
is science trying to prove this, to where when the body dies, when when your breath turns from breath to air, there is something that happens to the body, and the body loses slightly a little bit of weight, and the weight is supposed to be considered the soul exiting the body, and the body lifts off, and there's a weight shift, and there's a difference right then and there that they're trying to figure out that does happen. So
My
there
soul
is
needs to
something
lose
to
some
it.
weight.
Okay, guys,
But
I
it's
hate
just-
to be
yeah.
the person who
Fascinating.
cuts this short. We are
Yeah.
We'll have to
officially
continue this. This is
30
great.
minutes
We
over.
go-
Oh my
yeah.
god!
There's
We-
too much
so-
to talk about.
I
Just
know,
proof he
there's-
has to come
there's
back.
a cat afterwards. You
I
guys
clearly
don't
have to come
always
back.
get to participate, but
Yeah.
Gray basically he says he's with you, Lauren. Or
Mm.
I'm sorry,
I'm with
Gray
you,
may be
Lauren, but
female.
that's
I'm
just
sorry.
that's because I couldn't read it. You took it
Oh
down.
shit! I'm sorry. That's me.
But that's just because it's intimate doesn't mean it's sexual, but that's just me. That's the difference between someone who has intimacy with that is always sexual and someone who may be asexual or have asexual tendencies.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
You can disagree,
so
that's fine.
we are going to leave on that note.
Can we
We're
say
going
real
to
quick?
come back.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes,
We are
please.
coming back to this
There's
topic.
Too much.
Very
We
soon.
didn't
Please.
even hit TV shows.
Oh my
Mhm.
god! What? Okay,
We need to
so-
we need to take this topic and section it out and be like, okay, we're gonna talk about vampires and TV shows this episode, and the next
No, we
one's gonna be like
talk
true
about sex
crime
and
and
vampirism, and we need to have Moxie join us.
yes,
Mm.
and we need to do a books one, and I'm gonna invite my friend.
Yes, we're going
Yes.
to have a 6-panel show, and we're going to do sex and vampirism,
Oh.
and we're going to invite Moxie, who
Yeah.
is the queen of all things sex, and we're going to talk about.
She's
And Jack,
wonderful.
you're joining us again, and you can bring
If
your
you
girlfriend
want.
with us.
I would
With
love.
us,
She would
we're
love to
all
join.
for
She
this.
would love to join.
Yes, we would love to have you guys back because we're going to have a conversation about sex and vampirism because I think it goes hand in hand,
Yes.
hand in hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And with that said,
Oh wait,
There's one thing.
Vampire
I need to
Jack.
do.
Vampire Jack. Where can we
people
find you if they want to find you?
If anybody wants to find me, you can find me on TikTok, YouTube. I have a Patreon, obviously, but you can find me on Instagram. I have a Twitch, and I will be streaming more to Twitch. And though my TikTok is my main platform, there is one thing I would like to do before we close. Is that okay?
Go.
A lot
Okay.
of I'm reading these comments, and a lot of people are saying, "Would Jack growl?" So,
Go.
Go.
on my lives, a lot of people like it when I growl, and I have a rule. My rule is you have to say please. You have to say please.
Oh,
else
you're
I wouldn't do
asking the wrong group of ladies to beg.
So a lot of people, a lot of people have already asked very politely, very kindly that I would growl. But with your permission, I will
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
But if you don't want me to, I won't.
Please.
no,
I don't
no,
have
no.
to-
We love the
Nope.
growl.
Should we say a 1, 2, 3 and everyone say please? 1, 2, 3.
I don't say please.
Please.
That's a bit wolfy sounding, honestly. What?
I don't know if my heart can take that.
Do it again. I would actually say please to do it again. So please
If you-
do it again.
Again. Gladly, sure. Sure.
Put my wine down, you.
And that's what every girl wants to hear in her ear as a guy is seducing them up against a wall. Men, please take note.
You have no
Take
idea.
note. Take note.
If you can growl like a wolf, every woman will love you. And with that said, pleasant screams.
Bye.
You can
Great
growl.
please.
Somebody growl for me.